thank you. First of all, I got to credit Nebraska for how Tim's team played. Beat us to pretty much every 50-50 ball, any loose ball. I thought they played with great energy, and I think some of it, obviously, because they played yesterday. I thought I was concerned about that, giving them a boost, especially in that category. But every time they needed a play or we crept near them, we either made a mistake and gave them free points, or they made some plays. And obviously, they made some plays down the stretch with Shields and Watson hitting some tough shots where we could never get back within clawing distance. So, not exceptionally, obviously not pleased with some of the things on our end in terms of shot selection at times and turnovers. But as I told the group in the locker room, fortunately, we will have one more. But obviously, if we're like this, it'll only be one more. So we'll give credit to Tim's team, because I thought they, in about every single category, they were better than we were.
Questions for Vito? Ethan, just raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you. Start way in the back.
For Ethan and Vito, to kind of expand on what Greg said, especially in the paint, it looked like they were able to get into the paint and score, and you guys had a tough time finishing at the rim. Was it them? Were you guys too tentative?
Vito, start with you, please.
Like Coach Gard said, they just played harder than us, and we didn't do a good enough job of squeezing those driving lines. We allowed them to get way too many easy drives to the basket, and when they did drive, we didn't step over soon enough and take any charges. I think we took one, and so doing that allowed them to get more confidence to continue to attack us, and then obviously they started finishing the and-ones down the stretch, and by that point, it was too late.
Ethan, you want to add anything? Other questions, student athletes? Stay in the back.
For Ethan, you were able to score a little bit in the paint, but you also had 5 turnovers. At times it looked like you were a little bit tentative. Were you struggling to see things clearly out there, getting a chance to go to the rim?
I wouldn't call it tentative. I didn't play well, and I didn't do what the coaches asked of me on either end, and that has to change going forward.
Other questions, student athletes? Got one in the middle there.
For Coach, how do you rebound?
Just the student athletes right now, please.
Oh, okay. Well, it works for you too. After a long winning streak like you guys had, how do you rebound from 2 tough losses like this and refocus yourself on the tournament game?
Vito, I'll let you take it, please.
I think the main thing is going back and reevaluating, looking at the film, really analyzing what we didn't do right in both of these games. And I think they both really came down to the fact that we allowed them to attack us, and we didn't reciprocate that on the other end. So I think the main thing is defense, because every time we did try to claw back, like you said, we just let them expand the lead again, and we were never able to close that gap.
Go in the back, center.
Vito, a lot of good looks in the first half, 5 for 5, kind of carried a lot of the offense. In the second half, only think 2 shots and some free throw attempts too. But what did they change something on you in the second half, or what different look did they give?
I don't think it was anything they were doing, because they were closing out pretty hard in the first half. I think I just stopped moving as well without the ball and stopped getting open. So I got to continue to work on that, because our guys were driving, but I didn't make myself available for those passes.
Go back left again.
Vito, over to your left. Your coach mentioned shot selection just in passing, but in the first half, were you guys rushing things offensively, whether it was passes? Because there were a lot of passes that were not on target, a lot of shots that looked just a little hurried.
Yeah, I don't think we really heeded his advice. He told us that they would come out with passion and fire, and I think we kind of downplayed their abilities in the beginning, and we were kind of taken by surprise at how hard they were going on both ends of the floor. And then, like I said, we didn't do a good job of rebounding in the second half and fixing that.
Way over on the right.
Guys over here. I guess for both of you, does it take some of the sting out of it, though, knowing that, I mean, there is a tomorrow for you guys? It's not like this is done now and you got some pretty good stuff to look forward to.
Ethan, start with you, please.
No, it does not, sir.
Vito?
I mean, it doesn't take the sting out, but it's something to look forward to and know that we're able to kind of correct these mistakes and have another crack at it.
Take one last one for the student athletes back here left.
Ethan, over to your left. You mentioned that you didn't do what the coaches told you to do. Can you expand specifically where you thought you needed to be better and stronger?
Offensively, I turned the ball over, obviously, like as you pointed out, 5 times. Defensively, I didn't box my man out far enough for where they would call it over the back. There's a lot of things throughout the game that you can point out, and I'm sure when I watch the game over again, I'm going to be kicking myself in the butt for all of them.
Fellas, thank you very much. You may return to the locker room. We'll take questions for Coach. Start right over here on the right.
I'm Greg. The first time these guys played you, I think you beat them by 11 points at your place, but Siobhan Shields didn't play. Just talk about the difference he made tonight.
Well, he's their best player on both ends of the floor, and I knew that was going to be a factor, you know, just because he's been through it. His senior that's going on his last lap, so to speak, and he's a very good player. He's hurt us before. 2 years ago down there, he really played well, and they got us in Nebraska the year in 2014. So I knew he would make a difference in not only in terms of talent, but how hard he plays. And I knew, you know, and we had talked about it will be a different team than what we saw in Madison just because of him being back and what he adds, aside from numbers, just his presence because of his leadership and his impact on everybody else.
Over here on the left.
Greg, you mentioned shot selection and turnover. That showed in that 1 5-possession stretch after you had pulled within 55, 52. Did that surprise you? I mean, your team's been pretty poised stretch run of games during this run.
We have. I think the biggest thing was every time we clawed back, we gave them 3 points. It was either a foul that was unnecessary, you know, once 60 feet from the basket, another time twice in transition where we claw within 2 or 3, and then all of a sudden we give up 5 points in transition. So it was just simple things like that are I saw a lot of uncharacteristic things out there tonight that haven't been present when we've been playing really well. And obviously we're not in this position of finishing tied for third with having those things be obvious or present. So I thought like I said, we deviated from what has made us good in terms of through the course of the year and made us consistent. At times we did some good things. But then, like I said, every time we get back close again, we'd revert back or make a mistake on a screen or not get back in transition or foul when it wasn't necessary to, not around the rim, and then put them at the free throw line.
Go right to your right here in front.
Greg, what do you think this does to your NCAA seeding, and is that important to you?
I don't know what it does because I don't know. I mean, those things are obviously the committee takes care of that, and then they'll look at the whole body of work. I'm more concerned about how we're playing versus where we're seated or who we're playing, because this is, like I said, as I told the team, I said, you got one more. You need to put the jersey on one more time, and obviously we've got to get back to what put us in this position, not the replication of what we put out there tonight for 40 minutes. So I'm more concerned about that than where we're seated or who we play.
Take one last one right here on the right.
Yeah, Greg, did it look like it appeared from the stands or from the press area that Nebraska wanted this a little bit more than you guys? Did you see it that way?
Well, as I mentioned in my opening statement, that as I watch these conference tournaments around the country, and we even talked about it this morning, that when teams are relatively even, or you see a team that maybe played the day before, and then they have to play the second day versus a team that's just playing for the first time. The difference has been in terms of the energy and that level, how hard a team plays. Like I said, I thought Nebraska played extremely hard, and that was my concern, not having played yesterday and coming in knowing that adding Siobhan back was going to be a different team, and the fact that they had played yesterday I thought was a bonus. When you get to the third day, it gets a little harder, as they'll have tomorrow, but I thought on that second day, unless you can match that or exceed that, sometimes the advantage, look at Illinois and Iowa. The advantage goes to the team that had played the day before because they have things clicking a little bit easier or better. They're more accustomed to the environment, and they're a little looser. They played like they had nothing to lose, and we don't have anything to lose either, but That was the one thing that I thought going into it was going to be a difference maker, and it was a difference maker.